What is up, everybody? How is everybody doing today? And welcome back to another Flash Mini video on the channel. In today's video, we are going to give you a tier list on minis so that you know what the best and the worst minis are, so you can create the best decks for yourself. So first off, without further ado, we're going to jump into the tier list here. Not one mini makes it to the D tier, so we're going to start with the C tier here. We have some minis in the C tier, and the worst mini right now currently in Flash Mini, I think, is the Knight. The Knight just struggles. The reason why it struggles is the Lumberjack just super outshines it. Yes, the taunt can be kind of useful. Could it be super outplayed, and it really doesn't pick up value in a lot of situations. It really just lacks anything. Even when I have Knights in my decks, it stays at 0 elixir. Guard is going to be our second worst mini in Clash Mini, and yes, the Guard is decent, especially when it's upgraded as a tank, but why wouldn't you just want to get the Mega Knight if you are going to be upgrading the Guard? The Guard is in a decent-ish spot, but I think it could get a little tweak or two on its abilities, and it could be in an even better spot. Royal Ghost is going to be in the C tier here as the third worst mini inside of Flash Mini. Unfortunately, with the new gizmos, it really doesn't pick up as much value as it once did. There's so much damage and so much stuns right now in the current meta that the Royal Ghost just does not do enough in order to pick up victories. Next up, we are going to have the Fisherman. The Fisherman, unfortunately, is just complete hit or complete miss, and more often than not, it is a complete miss, and you can sit there and wind up spending way too much elixir for 0 value. That is why the Fisherman is going to be in the C tier as our last mini here up in the C tier. Next up, we are going to have the B tier here, and just sneaking into the B tier is the Witch. She's okay, nowhere near decent, but she still is better than the C tier heroes. She could get some value in certain decks, but still has a long way to go. Bowler is going to be our next mini up here. It got hard nerfed, and it no longer does a ton of damage to the back line. Maybe it needs to get +1 more damage on its first star, and it can be kind of ish viable again, but right now it just is not there. If you miss your ball in the beginning, now it really is punishing, because you really don't have any value. If you upgrade it to a 3-star, you aren't going to be able to get enough value with your other minis to be able to carry you the victory. Healing Ranger is going to be our next mini up. Healing Ranger with the rework here. Everybody thought it's going to be good with Archer Queen. It's okay with Archer Queen, but Archer Queen just is not in a good spot at all. You need to have just 100% stun deck, and you need to stun your opponent. That's why right now Healing Ranger just really doesn't fit in many decks, and for the Shield Maiden deck that it did fit in, you'd rather just have the best mini right now. So we're going to have the Spear Goblin in the B tier here, and it's going to be in the B tier. It did get a buff, but unfortunately it still is not there. There's so much healing, there's so much block inside of Flash Mini that the Spear Goblin just doesn't pick up enough, especially in the 2 elixir category. You have Archers, you have Lumberjacks, you have Miners, you have Ice Wizards, you have so many other options that are better than the Spear Goblin right now, but it is okay in Clash decks, and that is why it is in the B tier. Next mini is going to be the Prince. Could this have been lower? Yes, it could have, but the Prince still does get some decent uses if it can get a connection. Do I think the Prince can be lower on this tier list? Yes, I do. I don't think the Prince is in an amazing spot right now. Yes, the pony just got buffed, but the Prince is just a super hit or a super miss mini, just like the Fisherman, and that is why it is in the tier. Dark Goblin is going to be our next mini up. Yes, it can completely devastate everything if it ramps up and gets value, but it could also do absolutely nothing if it doesn't. And more often than not right now, especially with so many Barbarian Kings in the meta right now and Archers everywhere, Dark Goblin is just too much of a liability to play. It doesn't have a stun, it doesn't have a slow, it doesn't really pick up too much value besides pure damage, and right now you kind of want stuns and slows inside of Flash Mini in order to navigate around the meta. meta. Mini P.E.K.K.A is going to be our next mini up here in the B tier. The Mini P.E.K.K.A is a decent mini for the Dissipate, but the problem with the Mini P.E.K.K.A is, yes, it gets the Dissipates off, but it just doesn't get enough value. The value came from the Pancaker to completely speed it up, and right now, the meta kind of is shifted just a little bit towards mass healing, mass shielding, mass everything, and really quick play from the Lumberjack. It still is in an okay spot, but it still is slacking just a little bit to the other 3-cost minis inside the game. We have P.E.K.K.A here. P.E.K.K.A is going to be our next mini up. P.E.K.K.A still gets good value in the first 1 or 2 rounds, but it kind of falls off after that. If you want to have a 1 or 2 star P.E.K.K.A, you would rather have really a 1 or 2 star Mega Knight. P.E.K.K.A still is very good to do a lot of damage early on, so that is why it's going to be in the middle of the pack here as far as minis are concerned. Wizard is going to be our next mini up in the B tier here. This is where we get to pretty decent solid minis, and the Wizard does get the heal cut, which is really good, but unfortunately the heal cut isn't that amazing, but you do need it versus all of the battle healers currently in the meta, so that is why it is in the B tier. Definitely needed mini, pretty much just for the heal cut. Next up we have the Magic Archer. The Magic Archer still can be a decent carry when used correctly, but right now with all the archers everywhere, it's really hard to just use so much elixir on a Magic Archer. It still is an okay carry, and that is why it's going to be in the B tier. Valkyrie is our next mini up. It really only works with Wave Master currently, but it does do a massive job with Wave Master paired with the Swordsman, and that is why it is going to be in the B tier. The heal cut is amazing. It really does stop, Barbarian Kings who use battle healers as well as Shield Maidens as well. We have the Giant Skeleton in the B tier here, and a lot of people might be like, this could be flexed into the A tier, but the Giant Skeleton is just going to sneak into the B tier here, because the Giant Skeleton's bomb is good and everything is great, but unfortunately it just costs way too much to upgrade to that 6 elixir where it really shines, and that could be used for other 3-cost minis that just outshine it a little bit more. But this is still the second best mini in the B tier, so it is still better than all of the other minis before it. Next up is going to be the Barbarian. The Barbarian, it does a ton of damage. It gets off that plus attack for the Archer, but alone it really doesn't do amazing. Yes, the Barbarian plus the Archer combination is amazing, but without the Archer it really kind of just is a B tier mini, potentially an A tier mini. That is why it's the best B tier mini. It definitely could be an A tier mini, so everybody's saying in chat, and why you put it in the B tier, it could be an A tier mini. Next up, we are going to be going over to the A tier, and we have the Golden Giant. How can we not have the Golden Giant with there is a lot of Wave Masters around, and there is a ton of stuns in the game with Mega Knights, with Electro Wizards, with Musketeers. That is why the Golden Giant is very strong right now inside of Clash Mini. It has been in the A tier for a very long time, and it is going to stay here just sneaking in. Next mini up is going to be the Miner. The Miner is a really good mini because it gets to the backline, it gets the dissipations, it gets the cleave, it gets the damage, especially versus archers. You have to make them make their gizmo in the back. You have to make them think about where your miner is going to be, which is pretty good, which kind of is a mind game in itself, and that is why the miner is going to be in the A tier. The 2 damage does do a little bit as well, especially with the rage up from the Lumberjack, with the, the Barbarian King, with the damage. It just synergizes very well with a lot of other minis and heroes in the game. Here is the next mini, and it is going to be the Lumberjack. What can I say about the Lumberjack here? It rages up your minis. It rages up them when they get eliminated. If you upgrade it, rages it up them off of the start. Definitely a super solid mini. Maybe it could be a little bit higher up on this list, but the next minis up are just super strong. Next mini up is going to be the Electro Wizard. The Electro Wizard absolutely is crazy with the amount of stuns, with the amount that it does stun. The 0-star Electro Wizard now does a little bit more than it did before, so it is pretty good earlier on, which gets you that extra value. Electro Wizard does do a lot, especially stopping the Barbarian Kings and everything like that, especially you have a miner in your deck as well, or something else can get to the back line and they put a gizmo in the back. Your Electro Wizard won't hit their gizmo, and it will hit a lot of minis, pretty much every mini besides one on the field. Next up, we are going to have the Mega Knight. The Mega Knight Boom Shakalaka does a lot of damage. It stuns and it hits almost the entire board, really helping you navigate around. And it really makes them put their gizmo in a weird spot because they can't really put their gizmo where they want to, because you'll know where their troops are going to be. The Mega Knight is very, very good. It's very, very strong, and the stun from the Mega Knight now with the new 3rd star ability makes the Mega Knight super tanky, and it makes the Mega Knight be able to get off its super very, very fast. Next up, we are going to have the Ice Wizard. What can I say about the Ice Wizard? I love it. The super slow from the 1st star is absolutely amazing. The slow from the 2nd star is needed as well if they have a lot of melee or a battle healer that you need to get slowed. It's just one of my pocket picks and one of my favorite minis right now in Clash Mini, and I think it's super underrated. I don't know if people call it underrated, but you know, a lot of people would probably have this low A, probably high B tier. Definitely going to think it's one of the best minis inside of Clash Mini. Next up, we are going to have the Musketeer. Musketeer rounding out the A tier here. Musketeer is amazing. It snipes 2 targets once you upgrade it. It stuns them for an infinity amount of time as well when you upgrade the 1st star. And even when you get to the 3rd star, should I say the 2nd star, when you charge up the attacks, it does so much, and it gets value. It immediately shoots off its super almost, and you just continue to shut down your opponent by constant stuns and floods, especially when you have an archer queen or if you have a lumberjack, to pair it up really, really nicely as it picks up value. Next up, we are going to have the S tier here. The S tier is going to consist of the Swordsman, is the first mini in the S tier. The Swordsman picks up a lot of value right now. It just shot right up after it got to a 3 elixir. It does 10 damage with its super. It does a massive amount. 2. It really shuts down Archer Queens as well. Even if the Archer Queen's about to go invisible and it's just swiping away, it still hits it. It just eliminates everything in its path. It shields itself up. It is absolutely amazing right now in Clash Mini. Now we have the 2nd best mini inside of Clash Mini, and a lot of people this might be controversial, probably not, but it is the 2nd best mini inside of Clash Mini here, paired up with the Barbarian and then the Barbarian King. It really does clear out the back line in a matter of a second, especially with the Lumberjack as well. That is very good and all, but gizmos can be in the back and another tank can be in the back, so you know, it doesn't pick up as much value as you would think, but it does make them have to play a gizmo that they don't want to, that is tanky enough to survive the archer shots or put their gizmo higher up. So that's why the archer is going to be in the S tier as the 2nd best mini inside of Clash Mini. The best mini inside of Clash Mini is going to be the Battle Healer. And why do I say this? It's because infinite stuns. It's because the ability to make block on your minis that get healed, it's just insane. Not a lot of minis do 2 damage inside of Clash Mini, and that is why the Battle Healer is so strong. It just heals everything up. It keeps them alive. It shields them. It puts a block on them, and then it heals them to full on its next rotation. That is absolutely insane value from a Battle Healer. But thank you guys so much for watching this YouTube video. I hope this tier list video is going to help you create your decks inside of Clash Mini. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think about this tier list. Do you guys think it's correct? Do you guys think it's wrong? Let me know in the comments below. But thank you guys so much for watching this YouTube video. I love each and every single one of you guys, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.